For over 132 years, the Coca Cola Company has been part of many people's lives. Coca Cola now offers more than 500 brands in over 200 countries worldwide. The Coca Cola Company also employs over 700,000 people, creating economic opportunities in many local communities. The company has also taken the responsibility upon themselves to reduce the environmental impact by replenishing water and promoting recycling. Now you may ask yourself, what is the secret to the Coca-Cola brand success? Well, it's the people. The people who have collectively created and benefited from these various initiatives across the African continent. I'm Asanda Marku, and in this series, I'll be your guide through these various initiatives that are set up by the Coca-Cola Company. So join me as I embark on the journey to find the secret formula. The environment is fighting to survive at the moment. With worldwide pollution at an all-time high, COVID-19 may have shut down the world's economy temporarily, but will we see more changes in the way we treat our planet when we venture back into the outside world? In the center of the Pacific Ocean, weighing more than 87,000 tons, is an amorphous vortex of trash known as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It expands each year, collecting new pieces and particles. It's just one striking example of how the world is experiencing a direct threat from excess consumer waste, demonstrating the urgent need for sustainable solutions. Finding those solutions is the focus of the Coca-Cola Company's World Without Waste initiative, which includes the ambitious goal of collecting and recycling the equivalent of every bottle or can the company sells globally by 2030. In this episode, we're chatting about this waste management initiative. So just to give this some context, we shot this just before COVID-19 shut down the entire planet. Our first stop was the Coca-Cola head office in Rosebank, where we chatted to Avellar, General Manager of Coca-Cola South Africa. You spoke about World Without Waste, the project itself. Can you just take us through that and how important it is for you to be involved?
So, World Without Waste is a clear commitment that the Coca-Cola Company made globally. So, in each country, we committed to achieving 100% recyclable materials in our packaging by 2025 and 50% recycled actually in our packaging by 2025 as well. And also by 2030 to achieve 100% collect and recycle in all of our packaging. So it's a huge challenge, but it's a commitment. We'll have to get there. And we believe across Africa and in South Africa specifically with the PETCO model, which actually leverages this circular economy by supporting the collectors and the recycling industry, we can get there. We will get there. We'll continue investing together with our partner industries and the retailers as well behind the PETCO model.
Okay, so now we're on our way to meet the CEO of PETCO, Cheri Scholtz. I'm really interested to talk to her, so she could just, break it down to us what PETCO is, what PETCO does, and how it all started.
In about 1998, industry started looking at solutions for PET plastic bottles. They recognized that it was strategically good for business to find a solution for their products after they had actually served a useful life. And that took about 4 or 5 years. And industry worked on the concepts of a model that could work, because you can't just collect material. You need to be able to process it, and you need to have an end-use market for which there is a demand. At the end of 2004, I was approached together with a colleague, and we were asked to take this concept of what an extended producer responsibility organization could look like and effectively to put it into action. So from the beginning of 2005, all of our members elected to pay a voluntary extended producer responsibility fee on every ton of raw material that they buy, and to give us that funding to make sure that we could drive recycling and keep their products out of the environment where they don't belong.
Take us through your members and how that has been going, and just the work so far in the last 16 years.
I think that we have been incredibly blessed at PETCO to be supported by a membership base that has truly had vision, actually. So we represent on a volume basis about 86% of the PET beverage industry in South Africa. So I think that is a real indication of awareness. And some of the brands that have been and still are at PETCO and who sit on the board include organizations like Coca Cola, who've played a real leadership role since the beginning.
Now it's time to meet some of these PETCO beneficiaries on the ground. I'm at the Ndlazi Recycling and Energy Solutions Center. It is a family-owned business that's been operating since 2013 and officially as a company since 2014. I'm here specifically to chat to a father and daughter duo with Sipho and Amanda, who will be telling me more about their business and recycling. They're also members of the National Recycling Forum and the Gauteng Waste Forum, so I can't wait to chat to them. But just take us through the process of starting a recycling business. Where did that even come up? How did that come up?
We actually discovered that the time has come where your dump sites can actually no longer fill up as they had to. And doing our research, we actually discovered that some of the things that actually goes to the dump site is things that you actually can recycle, your bottles, your plastics and your papers. And you can actually make money from that. I think the process started from there. And then we then had to decide what is it that you actually need to invest in trying to actually get your business going in terms of assets, like finding a place where you can actually operate from, finding your assets in terms of cars and the things that you just use in the industry. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, nice. And now there's this term in recycling that I'd love you guys to explain. Because I saw it as pets, but I was like, nope, this is abbreviated for something. So yes, I was like, are you guys recycling pets now? What does PET stand for those who don't know, including me?
Okay. PET actually stands for polyethylene terephthalate. It's actually one of the polymers. It's actually a group of plastics. Okay. There's actually quite seven different groups of plastics, and PET is one of those that is actually used for food consumption. The main challenge is the challenge that faces all business, your cash flow. And once you get to understand that, you start becoming comfortable in terms of going forward and actually trying to put the puzzle in terms of a particular industry that is new and an industry that a lot of things you actually don't control. Like
it's not a set formula.
It's not a set formula. You're buying things at a particular price, and tomorrow those prices change.
How many employees do you have on site in your business?
We actually currently have 15 employees in our business.
Okay.
Currently, as things stand, we're actually working from this site. We've got a smaller site in one of the Guatemala branch. So here we buy, and in Guatemala we actually bale the stuff. So which means we put it in a baling machine and then we actually sell it.
And then in regards to the community, are they supportive of the whole recycling movement?
I think they are, because most of our customers are from the community. You get those women that actually stock up waste and we collect from them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and even our employees are from around the community, so it's a walking distance from home to work.
Now, Sipho, can you just take us through your relationship with PETCO and how fundamental they were in terms of funding and the relationship you've built?
Okay, as you are aware that PETCO is an awareness association. As much as they drive mainly the recycling of PET, I think they help us in the business in general, in terms of assisting, in terms of our requirement. Depends whether we want assets or we want funding in terms of improving the business. They've been forthcoming in terms of that, and we're very happy to be actually associated with them.
What we do is we identify people who show entrepreneurial spirit, who've actually been collecting, who may even just have a trolley or may not even have a trolley, but they have the passion to do something about cleaning up the environment where they find themselves. And then we support those businesses as they grow. We may start off by simply training people, teaching them on how to identify PET, how to sort it. When they start doing that and they start growing, then we may go back and assist them with protective clothing, with trolleys. And then of course, as they get even bigger, we go and assist with a baling machine, because it's not cost effective to transport loose bottles from one end of the country to the other. And then we try to play a role in mentoring as well.
Amanda, I mean, you know, you're a beautiful woman. You know, and this is quite like a male-dominated like industry. So what are your challenges as a woman? And I mean, you know, at least you've got daddy around, but just tell us how you know, handle it being a woman in this industry.
It's challenging because you sit in the office and they're like, can we talk to someone? Yes. And everybody's out and you pop up and they're like, you Sissy, you know.
So what do you know?
What do you know? But it's been a learning curve as well to say, if I pop up and I'm this tiny, I need to know exactly what I do.
Yes.
So it's easy for me to speak to somebody if I really know what is going around the business. So it's all about me learning every day.
Okay, so I'm going to get a personal tour by Sipho himself, just around the recycling center, and he's going to take us through how everything works.
This is basically our buyback center. It incorporates our workshop because we've got equipment and vehicles. But in general, the heart of the business is actually we buy recyclables.
Yes.
So we actually come and scale them here. And
so you weigh them here?
We weigh them here.
Okay.
Because,
and that determines how much?
That determines how much, because you actually have a variance in terms of all your recyclable products. They vary in terms of prices. So we scale them, and then that is what determines how much we pay the guys. We try to generally put everything in bags before we bale it.
Yes.
We don't just bale all the time, because we actually have to have sufficient stock of everything. Okay. There are things that we bale your box. Those we bale almost twice a week. You also have your milk cartons and your PET. The PET, as you can see it lying here, you actually have to compress this because it's just air.
Yes.
Right? That's where, especially that's where most of your money is.
We estimate that there are approximately 60,000 people who earn a living from collecting PET every year, and they are adding enormous value to society in many ways.
We're back on the road, and this time we're headed to Soweto, which is the biggest and oldest township in South Africa, with a population of over 1 million people. Now, not only is it rich in history, but it's also rich in culture, food, music, and fashion, making it a tourist mecca. Soweto also hosted the Soccer World Cup in 2010, attracting over 1 billion spectators. Imagine that. Can't wait to go. I'm at Pendowave Zone 60 plus Soweto, and I'll be talking to Nkuta and Zwane. Now, they've been running the business since 2016. Pendowave collects recyclables like glass, paper, plastics, and cans from surrounding communities and also landfill sites. They also collect a whopping like 20 tons of PETs, which is insane, on a monthly basis, which they sell to Impact and Rudaput Recycling.
My name is Nkuta. I'm a director at Pendowave. We are responsible for recycling. We actually do recycling in Soweto. We are based at the Soweto Empowerment Zone.
I'm Zwane. My background is environmental management. So we came together because my love is more for the social aspect of recycling.
Can you tell us about that relationship and how it all started? How did you guys, meet, and your love for recycling meeting your social aspects? Can you take us through that journey?
That's when we were at
the party.
At the party.
Okay. Yes. You guys are talking business at a party. This is my kind of party.
Of course. No, we were at a party, and we were both invited by a friend. And we just happened to talk, Cindy and I, and we found that we share the same interest and have vast knowledge of with the background of the environment. We just clicked, and we said, no, you know what? Let's meet, see what can come out of this.
How did it become a business in itself, especially with Pendowave?
After all the research and checking how the whole business works, I discovered it to be, number one, very good for the environment. Number two, good as a business, and helps with the employment problem that's currently there. And since that day, it's been something that's been on my heart, and I'm pushing it all the way.
Yeah, and in terms of, you mentioned employment, how has that really contributed within the youth employment, especially, Cindy?
For me, my love in recycling is more your educational and awareness. And I found that we could educate students, learners, and people at home to then take, we call it feedstock now, the feedstock, and make something good out of it so that it can just go around the economic, the circular economy to make, repurpose, refurbish, to make something better of that.
Your participation or more collaboration with PETCO, how has that helped and contributed?
PETCO has been very helpful. I'm not sure if you are aware that they are the ones responsible for the pelling machine that was donated to me, and the trailer there at the PEP.
Can you just take us through like how many employees you have, your day-to-day basis of running?
Currently, we've got 14 employees. 14. Those are people who are under Pendowave. Yes. And then you have indirect employment, like places like at the dump site, where we get most of our material. We've got people who come there on a daily basis, and they get that day-to-day employment.
Waste collectors, that day-to-day.
Yeah, at the dump, you have waste collectors, and you've got guys who actually are at the place trying to look for work at the dump itself. Okay. So those people will come and help out. You know, after we buy the material, like what you see behind, they will be the ones helping collect. So that's indirect employment. So from a day-to-day, you have different people coming in, and you pay them on a daily.
On a daily rate. Yeah. What do you guys make, you know, that you can sell back to the community?
So this is the shopping bag that I was talking about, very durable, made from billboard material.
Wow, that's beautiful.
We do it in various sizes, so
I like
it will last longer.
Yeah, it's very strong. Yeah. Oh, wow.
And then here, because some of the chocolate wrappers are non-recyclable, so we decided with that, we'll just weave, make something from this.
Is that a purse?
Yes. Yeah, it's a purse. So right now I've got my son's crayons. But obviously in terms of sizes as well, we can have the bigger ones for your sanitary towels, pencil case, numerous uses for this.
Very smart.
And then
wow,
we've got earrings from your banikis.
Wow, as in lids, yes.
Yes, from your lids. So S.A.
That is so smart, yes. Okay, so Gordon, where are we now? Is this where everything starts?
Yes, this is where everything starts. The truck goes to donate to the community, comes back with the material, we dump it here, and then we get it, we sort it here.
Okay.
Take it inside to the warehouse where it gets baled. From the outside, once the material is sorted, it's brought inside the warehouse where it's put like the PET on one side and the boxes on one side. From there, it's taken to the baling machine where it gets baled, and then it's ready for sale.
Okay. Now, Gordon, you know what? I've always been interested to see how the baling machine works, so please show me.
Let's go. This is the baling machine. The material gets put.
Okay, so these are all the plastic bottles?
Yes, these are all the PET. All the PET. They get put into the machine where they are compacted and then roped and ready to be taken out and be sold.
Nice. Oh yeah, and you kept saying PET, so it's the PET.
Yes, the PET.
Okay,
yes,
nice.
Yes. That's the name for the Coke bottles.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, Gordon, that was really cool to see. I mean, after the baling machine, what happens to it afterwards?
Okay, after the baling machine, we take the bale itself out, which so it looks something like this. Once all the material has been compressed together and tied, and then that's it's actually ready for sale when it's like this.
Okay, just as it is like this?
Just as it is, then it gets sold to the companies.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a paper version.
This is the paper version of it.
And that would be the PET?
That would be the PET, yes.
So PETCO are doing some amazing work with these recycling companies. It's time to head off now to the Fair Cape to see some of the work that's being done in the mother city. Now, on the show, we've been traveling, you know, mostly sub-Saharan, you know, around Africa. And I mean, I've loved Mozambique, don't get me wrong. I've loved Swaziland. But Cape Town holds such a special place in my heart. I mean, besides the fact that it's so beautiful, it's just, you know, I just feel light when I'm in Cape Town, you know? Look at the mountain, look at the sky is blue, and just the people, everyone is smiling. Cape Town is the place to be, guys. I'm so happy to be here. You have no idea. We've just arrived here in Cape Town, and as you can see, we've chosen a very good day to be in Cape Town because usually there'd be 4 seasons in one day. And I mean, it helps to know that most of the tourists have left because traffic is flowing. I am here to meet one of the beneficiaries of PETCO Waste Want. I'll be talking to Lydia and Lydia. Now, Lydia, can you just take us through the process itself, how you guys started the business? Because, you know, you said you were very fond of recycling, and it's also from previous experiences, so just take us through that.
You know, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and I was never ever thought that I'll open a business, but my situation at that point in time forced me, you know, to become an entrepreneur. I wasn't born one. So, you know, when we sat as a family, especially me and my husband, because of my knowledge in terms of waste minimization, and obviously with the focus of recycling, a lot of our experience we have gained from what you call the trolley guys. Because really, if there's people that knows the recycling, then there's these guys. I mean, you know, at one point you think they just in your bins and all of that. No, they know how to separate that sauce. I can remember somebody borrowed us a bakkie, and then I used to take the bakkie, load them onto the bakkie, and back to our premises at Stikland where we started.
Wow. So, so you've come a long way, clearly. And just take us through the growth itself. I mean, I think this is probably one of the largest, if not the largest, recycling centers I've visited.
We have managed to grow the business very slowly for 4 years, 5 years without any funding, no grant, no support. And you know, obviously as a new business, especially women-owned and youth, we obviously you know, tried interacted with various organizations, you know, and various companies and government to see if there was funding. And this is where your PETCOs comes in. You know what your PETCOs, and obviously your Sanlam through the ASISA program. And they've taken us through mentorship programs. They've assisted us in terms of grant, and you know, recently we've been assisted by PETCO. PETCO is the body that deals with all plastics. You know, like PETCO's dealing with PET, they're dealing with plastics, so we've been assisted by them. And we're very grateful, although we feel that we, you know, more funding or grants, you know, will help because we need more. The automation is important for us, because only by getting more automation, for example, an extra conveyor belt will not only help the business, but will also allow us to create more jobs. Because at the moment we're employing 302 people, persons.
Wow, 302. Yes, that's amazing.
But I think more importantly, I think for us, is about creating jobs. Because I mean, it's clear that small businesses create jobs. You know, and if
you're proof of that,
you know what, I can with a smile on my face say that in 2010 we only employed 3 to 4 people. Today we're employing 302. We're going into the market.
That's huge.
And because of this, the market is very, I mean, the recycling itself in terms are very down. But we've managed to keep our staff. Our biggest challenge obviously is to, you know, if we want to streamline, you know, our processes, then we're going to have to get obviously automation that will help us to not only to create jobs, but also to move stock faster. As you can see, we've got, you know, we've got the conveyor belt, but we, you know, we're not able to
make it move faster. As a woman, even in business, you know, you're really just changing the game. How has that been?
Well, I can tell you, Asanda, that being a woman in this business has never been easy. And going forward, it's probably not going to be easy. But this is one tough woman standing here. You know, I take no
nonsense.
I think we've got a good team here. I think we've got, I think we're more a family than a business, like you see. You will find me like this every day, and then when I have my meetings, I come with my meeting clothes to work. But I think one of the greatest highlights for me is the fact that we could create all these jobs.
Wow, Nkuta, this is quite noisy, but just take us through like a little tour. Where are we now? What's happening here?
Okay, so now we're basically at our MRF, which is a material recovery facility. As you can see behind me over here, Sanda, this is one of our automated balers. So the PET gets thrown down into the channel over here, and then it gets fed up by a conveyor belt into the big baling machine, and it compresses. So as you can see above us over here, we have our conveyor belt. So this is basically a conveyor belt sorting system. So we have people standing at the top of the conveyor belt sorting the different grades of waste. Your plastics, your papers, and your PET in particular. And it gets thrown down the chutes and it empties into all the different containers.
And how, I mean, how much stuff do you get to recycle in a day?
I mean, lots of people calculate different grades of things. What we tend to do is we try to say that for every ton of waste brought in for the particular day, we're having 4 people sort that amount of waste. I mean, we're getting over 400 tons a month, so the calculation changes from day to day because different amounts come in. But we essentially try to do at least 30 to 40 tons a day.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Of sorting.
Yes, of sorting. Now Luther, what is taking place here? What's happening here? Is this where it starts? Before? Yeah.
So yes, so essentially, I mean, once it comes to our facility and the trucks bring it in all the different types of bags. We have guys at the bottom here feeding the feeder conveyor belt. So they're opening up the plastic bags which contains all of the recyclable that feeds up eventually into the main conveyor belt where we have all of our different guys sorting all the different grades of waste.
Luther, can you just take us through, the projects that you've worked with, specifically with PETCO and Coca Cola?
So I think one of the biggest ones we've done with PETCO and Coca Cola was the Recycling Schools project. We targeted 10 schools around the Cape Metropole, and what we did was an activation regarding recycling. We went into the schools, we did an activation, we educated them about the importance of the recycling, the value of recycling. We brought in a mascot and we ran a competition around that. We then encouraged the schools over a 4-month, 3-month or term period to bring in recycling. We taught them what recycling they need to bring in, how it needs to be separated. And we also told them, like I said, it's a competition. Yes. At the end of that particular term, the school that brought in the most wins a prize. Yeah. And I mean, that is just what was enough to drive them and the longevity. Yeah, and the longevity of it is now we get to work with them after the competition has ended. Nice. So those same kids are now encouraged to bring in the recycling and to do all of those things. So like Lydia paid it forward to me by teaching me about the recycling, we as a company have paid it forward to those schools to teach them about recycling. Yeah, and the next generation in the future. And the next generation, yes.
Nice. Yeah. In 2011, PETCO's bottling partner Coca Cola Beverages South Africa launched a school recycling program in an effort to entrench the culture of waste separation and recycling in communities. To date, CCBSA have invested over 45 million to support the initiative in more than 800 schools across the country. Lydia and Luther and I guess their son, who I didn't get to meet, are so passionate about this. It takes passion. PETCO's impact has been undeniable in South Africa, with 2 out of every 3 PET plastic bottles being collected and recycled. Through PETCO, the plastic recycling company South Africa has established a recycling rate higher than many countries in Europe and the US. What aspects are important when it comes to recycling?
I think the most important aspect starts right at the very beginning with the design of the product. And we spend a lot of time teaching brand owners and packaging designers to consider those. We call it design for recycling or eco-design. Because if products are designed that are compatible with the recycling stream, then they will be recycled. And of course, right at the very end is the consumer's role, not to litter and to participate in separation at source where they can, or to drop their products off for recycling, or to support their informal collector. That's a real win-win.
Speaking to Cheri was also very interesting, and it proved the point that, when it comes to the secret formula, it is clear that it is the people. The waste management industry has been affected by the lockdown and restriction of movement in South Africa and presumably across Africa. We don't know what the full impact of COVID-19 will be for individuals like Sipho and Amanda, or Gordon and Cindy, but with partners like Coca-Cola and the Ministry of Environment, they won't be left behind. Earlier in March of 2020, the ministry secured 785,000 rand to help waste pickers and reclaimers who have lost their livelihoods. 12 companies in the packaging industry made donations, including Coca-Cola, who had also donated and distributed over 2,000 food parcels to waste pickers in partnership with various waste pickers associations. We don't know what the future holds now with the worldwide outbreak of this pandemic. It's an empty canvas waiting to be filled. But the beauty of an empty canvas is that we can choose the picture of the future we want to paint. So let's make it one of sustainability. I'm Asanda Maku, and we'll see you next time on The Secret Formula. Until then, stay safe.